Discover 60 minutes of incredible life-changing wisdom, heartwarming philosophies for your peace. Sarah sat at the edge of her bed, the morning light cutting through the worn curtains, her heart heavy with worry. Just outside, the small Midwestern town buzzed with life, but inside her home, silence felt like a weight. As a single mother of two, her days were filled with hustle getting her kids ready for school, rushing to the diner to pull double shifts, and collapsing into bed each night, barely able to keep the shadows of fear at bay. She dreamed of a better life, one where her children wouldn't have to struggle like she did. In the diner, laughter echoed, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee lingered in the air. It was a place where everyone knew your name, a sanctuary hidden in the heart of their little town. But every cheerful smile masked the truth of Sarah's life. Her paycheck barely covered the bills, and each day was a relentless grind against the rising tide of uncertainty. Her dreams floated like paper boats on a stormy sea, fragile and spinning in circles. When she heard the rumor of the corporate giant planning to take over the diner, it felt like the ground beneath her was crumbling. The diner was more than a job, it represented community, connection, and a world of untold stories. Losing it would mean losing a piece of her soul. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when Sarah thought things couldn't get any worse, her estranged father returned. The man who had walked away from her life, leaving her feeling abandoned and angry, was now back, eyes haunted by memories that ran deep. His presence stirred a storm of emotions: resentment, longing, and fear. Would he ever truly understand the pain his absence had caused? As she stood face to face with him, their past loomed between them, vast and unyielding, and then there was Marco, the young immigrant with dreams etched in his heart. He worked tirelessly, hoping to be part of something bigger in this town. He faced rejection and prejudice, yet he bore his burdens with a quiet strength that inspired Sarah. Their struggles intertwined, resonating in ways she couldn't fully grasp but felt deep within her soul. The looming threat of closure stirred something within her. A fire ignited, and Sarah decided to fight. She organized community meetings, a call for unity in the face of adversity. Faces of her neighbors lit with hope and determination, but old grudges surfaced, creating fractures in their unity. Yet, in the depths of that struggle, Sarah began to find strength, hers, and the collective resilience of the town. The flicker of hope grew brighter each day as they shared stories, laughter, and even tears, but just when she thought the tide was turning, a family secret shattered everything she believed. It urged her to confront the complexities of forgiveness and the tangled web of family ties. Could she mend the rift with her father? Could the walls between them finally come down? As Sarah stood at the precipice of choices, uncertainty loomed large. Would the diner survive this battle? Could broken hearts find healing amidst the chaos? Time ticked away, and Sarah felt the weight of her world pressing down on her. She had to choose: fight for her family, for her community, and for dreams still waiting to be unveiled. Would she find the courage to embrace it all? Sarah stood in the middle of her living room, the air thick with the unsaid words hanging between her and her father. His presence felt different from the last time she'd seen him. The walls of their estranged relationship seemed to tremble, ready to crumble or perhaps reform into something new. But as she looked at him, 1,000 memories flashed through her mind, moments of disappointment and bitterness. How could one conversation erase years of hurt? Why now? She finally asked, her voice wavering, laced with both anger and curiosity. He looked down, shuffling his feet like a kid caught doing something wrong. I'm sorry for everything, Sarah. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I just want to try to be a part of your life. Looking into his eyes, she felt a tug of compassion, but the pain was a heavy anchor. You walked away, she reminded him, her heart racing. You don't get to just come back and expect it to be okay. Outside, the din of the town continued, but inside, an inner war raged on. Not far from her home, the diner buzzed with people, life continuing without her while she stood still, wrestling with shadows from the past. Please, he pleaded, taking a step closer. Let me explain. I've been working on myself, trying to mend things within me. She wanted to believe him, but doubts lingered like clouds before a storm. Memories of late-night calls and empty promises swelled inside her. Yet, maybe this was her chance, an opening to heal old wounds her heart had buried deep. Okay, she said, surprising herself. But it's going to take time. You need to understand, I can't just let you back in like nothing happened. His eyes widened, a glimmer of hope shining through the heaviness of guilt. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, he responded, sincerity intertwining with desperation. As if on cue, the door burst open, and her children barreled in, laughter breaking through the tension that had wrapped around them like a cloak. They carried an energy that lightened her heart, leading her to put her father's presence aside, if only temporarily. She couldn't let her children see her painted in grief and resentment. Mom! Look what we found! Her son, Josh, exclaimed, holding up a colorful fluttering paper. It was a flyer for an upcoming town festival, lively artwork splashed across it, promising fun and connection. Can we go, please? Her daughter, Mia, chimed in, eyes sparkling with excitement. Sarah glanced at her father, who stood awkwardly in the doorway, an outsider in what should be his family space. This was a moment of normalcy she yearned for, yet here he was, forcing her to navigate a path she hadn't wanted to tread. Let us do it, Sarah replied, flashing a smile. The festival could be good for all of us. The words surprised her, but the thought of the community rallying together sparked something deep inside. As they prepped for the festival, Sarah's mind raced with questions. How could she juggle the festival, her community's fight for the diner, and the shaky ground of her relationship with her father? And what role would Marco play in all of this? That quiet strength at the edge of her vision. At that moment, standing in her kitchen and dishing out dinner, Sarah felt her heartbeat quicken. All of this was leading to something. But what? The evening air was thick with anticipation, and she couldn't shake the feeling that everything was converging toward a climax she wasn't prepared for. Could she bring her family and community together while facing her own personal storms? A flicker of doubt crept in, but so did a sliver of hope. The festival was just around the corner, and with it, the potential for change. Little did she know, when the sun rose again, secrets waiting to be uncovered would change everything once more. The next morning dawned bright and clear, but Sarah felt a weight in her chest, a blend of nerves and anticipation. As she prepared breakfast, the aroma of pancakes filled the air, mixing with the faint sound of birds chirping outside. Josh and Mia rushed to the table, eager faces ready for whatever the day would bring. Can we help with the festival preparations? Mia asked, her voice bubbling with excitement. Of course, Sarah replied, smiling despite her lingering worries. You can help me make some decorations. It'll be a family affair. As they gathered supplies in the living room, Sarah's phone buzzed on the counter. She picked it up, and her heart raced when she saw Marco's name flash on the screen. He had been her rock during recent storms, and she couldn't shake the feeling he could help her navigate this turbulent moment with her father. Hey, Marco, she said when she answered. Can you come over later? We're getting ready for the festival, and I could really use some extra hands. Absolutely. I'll be there after I finish up at the diner. His steady voice wrapped around her like a warm hug. You sound a little tense. Everything okay? She hesitated. Could she dump all of this on him again? Just dealing with some family stuff, you know. It's complicated. Got it. I'll be there soon, he said. After hanging up, Sarah's heart fluttered. She needed that anchor, that grounding clarity Marco provided. But she also knew that having her father around could add to the tension. With her kids buzzing around, cutting streamers and painting signs with vibrant colors, the room filled with a sense of joy that momentarily banished her worries. Laughter echoed as they reminisced about previous festivals, recounting how Mia had once won the pie eating contest and how Josh had embarrassed himself dancing on the town's stage. The nostalgia wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Then her father walked into the room, a hesitant look on his face. Can I help? He asked, his voice soft and uncertain. It caught her off guard. Sure, Sarah muttered, uncertain of his intentions. As they began working side by side, a silence fell over them, filled only by the sounds of Mia singing her favorite tunes and Josh cracking jokes. Sarah glanced at her father, who was carefully folding colored paper, an awkward focus in his eyes. In that moment, she caught a glimpse of vulnerability, a side of him she hadn't seen in years. Days of pent-up frustration began to thaw, if only a little. Every artful cut of the paper and every bright stroke of paint began to bridge some of the distance between them. It wasn't easy. Still, it felt like a small shift. But beneath it all, the shadows of doubt lingered, threatening to creep back in. Sarah, he ventured, breaking the silence, I appreciate this time. I want to help. I need to show you I can be better. She swallowed hard. Talk is cheap, Dad. You have to show me. Just then, the doorbell rang. Marco stood there, a big smile on his face, arms full of supplies. His presence lit up the room. Hey, everyone. Ready to make this festival unforgettable? Sarah glanced at her father and then at Marco. Two men vying for her attention, but in entirely different ways. Could she balance both of them, or would one inevitably push the other away? As they dove into the preparations, the room buzzed with energy. Laughter mingled with paint splatters and frantic plans. Sarah felt herself drawn into the moment, yet anxiety nibbled at her edges. Outside, the town prepared for the festival's onset, but inside, the real festival of emotions raged on. Could she truly embrace this new chapter with her father while keeping her connection with Marco alive? The challenge that lay ahead felt monumental. And as Sarah woke, she couldn't shake the feeling that before long, all these threads would weave into a tapestry of change, revealing a truth she might not be ready to face. Attention hung palpably in the room, leaving Sarah wondering, would the festival bring the community together, or would it unveil the fractures hidden just beneath the surface? The laughter from her children painted the room vibrant, but Sarah's heart thudded with questions. Working alongside her father, she felt the tension ebb and flow like a tide, pulling her into nostalgia but pushing her back into uncertainty. Marco was helping to keep them afloat, but she couldn't help but wonder if her father would drown these fragile moments with past mistakes. Hey, Sarah, Marco shouted, his voice cutting through her spiraling thoughts. What do you think about adding some twinkling lights to the entrance? It set a magical tone. That sounds perfect. She responded, a spark of excitement igniting her nerves. As she grabbed the string of lights, she felt her father's gaze burning into her. Are you always this happy? He asked, surprising her. She turned to him, surprised by his sudden question. I try. The festival is about joy, right? Yeah, he murmured, almost to himself. A moment of silent reflection passed between them before he added, I remember the first festival I took you and your brother to. You were so excited about the parade. The memory washed over her like a serene wave, but it quickly turned to bitterness. That was a long time ago, Dad. Things aren't the same anymore. People change, he responded, a hopeful tone to his voice. I want to be part of this. I want to make memories again with you. Before she could reply, Josh darted over with paint-stained fingers. Mom. Can we make some of those cool paper lanterns? Great idea. Sarah said, feeling the brightness of the moment seep into her. They gathered materials, tossing strands of confetti like laughter into the air. While vibrant paper fluttered around them like summer breezes, her father picked up a cup of paint and seemed to hesitate. Sarah watched, her heartbeat quickening, as he dipped his brush into the bright colors. For a split second, time seemed to stand still. Brush in hand, he glanced at her, an uncertain but sincere smile breaking through his usually stern demeanor. How about I show you what I can do? Okay, she whispered, unable to tear her gaze away. Together, they began to create a tentative dance of brush strokes and shared colors. As they worked side by side, a warmth began to spread between them, inching its way past the years of wall building. Just then, Mia twirled over, surrounded by glitter and joy. Look what I made! She exclaimed, holding up a proud creation of bright blues and purples. Wow, that's beautiful, Mia! Marco chimed in, kneeling beside her. He ruffled her hair, eliciting a burst of giggles. The girl beamed, relief fluttering through Sarah at the sound of their laughter. But in the background, her father seemed to grapple with his own insecurities. Can I help with your lanterns, Mia? He offered hesitantly. Sarah held her breath, willing her daughter to accept. Sure, Grandpa. Mia replied, delight lighting up her eyes. The moment was small yet monumental, and Sarah felt a swell of emotion welling within her. If they could all work together, maybe it would be a step forward. She took a moment to gather herself, watching Marco and her father engage with her kids, each stroke a conversation bridging their past and present. Time ticked on as the hours melted away into laughter, paint, and whispered stories. Yet, beneath the surface of this budding connection, an unspoken question loomed. Could they truly rebuild what had been shattered, or would old patterns seep back in when the festival ended? As the sun began setting, casting golden light into the room, Sarah felt the edges of her worries sharpen once again. The festival would demand a performance from everyone, and one slip could threaten to unravel the day's fragile restoration. Hey, Sarah, Marco's voice pulled her from her thoughts, but when she turned to look at him, she found a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. What if your dad is not the only one struggling to show who they really are? The question hung heavy in the air, nodding to the thread that wound through them all. Sarah's heart raced, grappling with the implications as she searched Marco's eyes. How long until the truth came crashing down? In that moment, she realized the festival wasn't just about celebrating their community. It might also become a reflection of their family as truths both hidden and exposed. And with the fair looming closer, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, would the festival be a celebration of new beginnings or a confrontation of old demons? As the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, a gentle hush settled in the room, broken only by the sound of paintbrushes meeting paper and the soft laughter of children. Sarah could feel the air thicken with anticipation, a mix of hope and anxiety swirling in her chest. She shuffled through the remnants of their colorful creations, her fingers brushing against the rough edges of the paper lanterns. Sarah, her father called gently, his voice cutting through the momentary stillness. She looked up, meeting his gaze. There was a vulnerability in the way he held her stare. Can I ask you something? Her heart raced. Sure, Dad. What is on your mind? He inhaled deeply, the weight of unspoken words visibly pressing on him. Do you think we can really make this work? All of us? The sincerity in his voice squeezed her heart. The quest for redemption, for connection, seemed daunting. But as she glanced over at Marco, smiling together with Mia and Josh while they finished their lanterns, Sarah felt a flicker of belief ignite within her. I think it's possible, she replied carefully. But it's going to take time. And honesty. Honesty, he echoed, rubbing the back of his neck nervously. I'm not sure I've been very honest with you or myself lately. You don't have to shoulder it alone. The words flowed out of her before she had fully processed them. But they felt true. We're all in this together, Dad. I want to help you, but you have to meet me halfway. He dropped his gaze, staring at the floor as though the patterns in the wood held answers. I know I've made mistakes. I want to be better. But sometimes I don't know how. I don't have all the answers either, Sarah admitted, her voice softening. But we can figure it out together. I mean, today was a good start, right? Her father looked up then, gratitude flooding his features. It really was. Encouraged by the moment, Sarah decided to push a bit further, capturing the tentative strength building between them. What about the moments you felt the most lost? Maybe we could talk about those. He frowned, the weight of their past hovering heavily between them. Memories of harsh words and lost time flickered in his eyes. It's hard sometimes, it feels like I can't turn back. None of us are perfect, she replied with conviction. We keep moving forward. He contemplated her words, his lips pressing together as if trying to seal off emotions he hadn't expressed in years. Just then, Mia hopped over, adorned in a glittery apron and blissfully unaware of the heaviness that hung in the air. Can we hang up our lanterns now? She asked excitedly, sparking a moment of levity. Absolutely. Marco exclaimed, rising to his feet and sweeping Mia up into his arms. Let's make this place sparkle. As the kids dashed to find the twinkling lights, Sarah saw a glimmer of hope reflected in her father's eyes. It was something fragile but genuine. Maybe their hearts could be lit up again, too, but amid the laughter and the chatter, an undercurrent of uncertainty persisted. The festival was just days away, and with it, expectations pressed heavily on her shoulders. Could they carry this burgeoning connection through the chaos? Hey, Sarah. Marco's voice cut back into her thoughts, his brow slightly furrowed. What if we each wrote down a few things we want to share during the festival? You know, things we've been hiding? Her breath caught. The idea swirled in her mind, full of promise but also potential pain. Could they face the truth head-on in front of everyone? As her heart pounded, she exchanged glances with her father, the weight of unvoiced truths hanging heavily. It felt like they were standing at the edge of a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. Would you all be okay with that? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. With the festival looming on the horizon, Sarah sensed they were about to unveil more than just lanterns. It could lead to revelations or wreckage. Ready or not, she whispered under her breath, gripping the edge of the table tightly. The festival could either be redemption or ruin. Sometimes. Sarah mused quietly, real change takes a little heartache. What would the festival reveal about family, about themselves? Would they emerge from it healed or broken? The tension hung in the air like the twinkling lights that awaited them, each bulb a hint of the emotions soon to come. The sun had long vanished, replaced by a starry sky that danced above them. Inside their little home, the air felt charged with an electric mix of excitement and sorrow. As Sarah watched Marco and the kids hunt for the perfect spots to hang the lanterns, she couldn't shake the budding tension in her chest or the questions that waited patiently in her mind. Her father leaned against the table, observing the little ones with a softness she had missed. He looked almost young again, a contrast to the worn lines that usually etched his face. "You know, seeing them like this, it reminds me of how we used to be," he said, a wistful look in his eyes. "How do you mean?" Sarah asked, moving closer. She sensed this was a door opening, and she was eager to hear what lay on the other side. "I remember the nights we spent outside, making up stories while the stars blinked down at us. Your brother," he paused, a shadow crossing his features. "We laughed so freely back then, we can laugh like that again," Sarah encouraged. "It just takes a little work." Her father rubbed his temple, an old habit that still surfaced in moments of stress. "It's different now. There's too many things between us that feels unresolved. What if we start with just one thing?" she suggested. "What if we wrote it down and shared it during the festival? One truth, one feeling we've held back." He sighed deeply, almost resigned. It sounds simple enough. Yet, she saw the concern flicker across his face. She sensed apprehension, but also a longing to let go. Mia skipped back into the room, wide-eyed and breathless. "I see the perfect tree for our lanterns," she squealed, clapping her hands together. "Let us go. The sooner we hang them, the sooner they can light up," Marco replied, already striding toward the door. As they stepped outside, Sarah took her father's hand, pulling him along too. The flickering lights sparkled like stars being gathered from the sky, shining down on their small neighborhood. She wanted to hold on to this moment, to etch it in her mind forever. As they approached the tree, Mia bounced from foot to foot in anticipation. Josh reached up, hanging his lantern high, while Marco joined in, assisting them with a gentle smile spread across his face. Sarah felt her heart swell. They were becoming a real team. "Okay, everyone," Marco called out. "Let us start telling stories about our lanterns while we hang them. Who wants to go first?" Suddenly, an unexpected wave of doubt hit Sarah. They could share stories, but what if writing down their hidden truths unraveled everything? What if the festival ended up tearing them apart instead of bringing them together? She took a deep breath, seeking her father's gaze. He seemed immersed in the children's laughter, though a shadow remained in his eyes. It was a piece of him that still felt lost, and it concerned her. "Hey, Dad, do you remember the story about the nightingale?" Sarah asked softly, hoping to draw him out of his thoughts. His brow furrowed in confusion, and she pressed on. "The nightingale that sang so beautifully because it shared its pain through the melodies?" His expression softened. "I do remember. The way it found itself through the songs. That's what we need to do, right? Find our songs," she encouraged. "We need to share our hurt to find the beauty in it again." He nodded slowly, the urgency of their upcoming festival seeming to settle in, perhaps even awakening a bit of courage inside him. As the lanterns began to sway gently in the breeze, Sarah felt a mixture of worry and hope. "Tomorrow is the day," she murmured, half to herself. "Tomorrow could change everything," he replied, locking eyes with her. They hung the last lantern, and Mia squealed with joy, breaking the tension like a fresh morning light breaking through the clouds. Their laughter filled the night air, but in Sarah's heart, a quiet storm brewed. "Do you think we're really ready?" she asked her father quietly. Ready or not, he echoed her earlier words, a glimmer of determination sparking within him. As they stood together, surrounded by glowing lanterns and children full of laughter, Sarah couldn't help but wonder what tomorrow's revelations would bring. The festival was approaching, and they were on the verge of something monumental. But would they find their way to healing, or would they stumble into old wounds? Tomorrow will tell, she breathed, uncertainty lingering like the flicker of a candle waiting to be lit. The night wrapped around them like a comfortable blanket, but for Sarah, sleep was elusive. Lying in bed, she stared at the ceiling, the lanterns they had hung still glowing softly in her mind. Just hours ago, laughter had danced through the air, but now it felt like a distant echo. Uncertainty clouded her thoughts, intertwining with excitement. Would their honesty bring them closer or stretch the gaps wider? She could almost hear her father's words again, the tremor of longing that lay within them. Too many things, unresolved. What were they refusing to face? It seemed they all had questions, but few dared to voice them. As dawn crept into the room, painting it with strokes of soft orange and pink, Sarah sighed. Today was the festival. People would gather under the bright skies, lanterns would fill the air above them. But beneath it all, feelings were buried. It felt like they were dancing around the truths that needed to be said. Swallowing hard, she resolved to be brave today. In the kitchen, Marco hummed as he prepared breakfast. His presence was comforting, a constant that steadied her jittery heart. He turned and smiled, bright and reassuring, and she felt a spark of hope. "Ready for the big day?" he asked, with a lightness that made the weight in her chest feel just a little less heavy. "Yeah, I guess," she replied, trying to muster enthusiasm. She watched him flip pancakes, their golden edges crisping nicely in the pan, and it brought a tiny smile to her face. "Do you think we're really ready to share everything?" Marco set the spatula down and leaned back against the counter. "Hey, look at us. We faced a lot of challenges, and look where we are now. We can handle this, too. Just remember, it's all about connection. Whatever happens, we're in it together." The sincerity in his eyes sent warmth through her. They had built their life through honesty, so why would today be any different? She nodded, feeling her resolve strengthened, solidified by his unwavering support. The morning buzzed with activity, and soon the children woke, bursting with energy. Mia's laughter rang through the house as she twirled in her favorite dress, while Josh practiced throwing confetti into the air. It felt like the world was preparing for a celebration, and Sarah wanted to hold on to that joy as tightly as possible. Later, as they finished getting ready, anxiety clawed at her again. "You think the kids are okay?" she asked Marco, glancing toward the little ones who were bouncing with uncontainable excitement. "They'll be fine. Just keep them distracted with games and stories, and they won't even see the serious stuff on the horizon. But you have to dive into your own stories, too." Feeling her heart race at the thought, she wondered how she could find her voice amid the chaos. But wasn't that what the festival was about? Lighting up the darkness with courage and truth? The sun climbed higher, casting a golden glow across the neighborhood. They arrived at the festival grounds, vibrant banners fluttering in the breeze. The scent of popcorn and cotton candy filled the air, mingling with laughter and chatter. Sarah felt both exhilarated and terrified. As families started to gather, lanterns were lit one by one. Each flicker illuminated the faces of friends, neighbors, and strangers alike. This was their moment. But as Sarah scanned the crowd, her father's face caught her eye, a mix of pride and apprehension swirling in his expression. "Let us do this," she whispered to herself, taking a deep breath. "Sarah. Over here." Mia's voice broke through her thoughts, and she turned to see her daughter waving her over excitedly. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of family and community, Sarah knew there was no turning back. The truth would come out, and she just needed to embrace it. And then came that familiar thought lingering at the edge of her mind: what if the stories she had hidden could truly change everything? With that, she took a step forward, heart pounding in her chest, determined to face whatever lay ahead. Would the lanterns illuminate the path to healing, or would they uncover shadows she wasn't ready to confront? As she took her place amidst the gathering crowd, she realized the answers awaited her in the stories that were yet to unfold. The sun bathed the festival grounds in a golden glow, and an almost palpable energy vibrated through the air. Children dashed past, their laughter mixing with the hum of excited chatter from families settling in. Sarah watched as Mia pulled Josh by the hand, leading him to the nearby game booth, her heart a whirlpool of dread and hope. Marco caught her gaze and smiled, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "There they go. Ready for a day of fun," he said, his voice soothing against her rising anxiety. "Are you sure this is the right time?" she murmured, her eyes still trained on the kids. The thought of confronting the unspoken truths felt like stumbling into a storm. "Nothing can perfectly set the stage for the truth, Sarah. You'll be okay. Just follow your heart," he replied, his confidence an anchor in her storming mind. With a deep breath, Sarah drew her gaze back to the twinkling lanterns that floated above. They swayed gently, each one telling a story of hopes and dreams. What stories would she contribute today? The vibrant sounds of music flowed from a nearby stage. Bands warmed up, and a small crowd began to gather. The festival officially kicked into gear, and each moment pulled Sarah further from her thoughts. She watched as neighbors greeted one another with warm hugs, and friends caught up, laughter echoing through the air. Still, her heart tightened. The looming conversation with her father narrowed her focus like the harsh beam of a spotlight. "Hey, let's check out the food," Marco said, snapping her from her reverie. "Yeah, okay," she answered, but her mind was elsewhere. The thought of food and treats felt distant, like shadows flitting past in a scene that was not her own. They walked towards the food stalls, and as they neared a long table adorned with a feast of colors, tacos, sliders, and a rainbow of desserts, Sarah's focus shifted. Across from them stood her father, deep in conversation with a neighbor. His face wore that familiar mix of happiness and contemplation. She felt that tug within her heart again. "Look," Marco whispered, nodding towards the kids. "They're having a great time." Sarah felt a pang of warmth. Mia was pointing towards the face-painting booth, and Josh jumped up and down. But as her father finally spotted her, his smile faded slightly, replaced by an introspective look that sent her pulse racing. Marco trailed off, sensing her sudden shift in mood. "Just give me a second. I need to talk to him." She stepped away, the crowd parting like waves as she approached him. "Dad?" Her voice wobbled slightly, but determination coursed through her. He looked up, his face striking a delicate balance of surprise and pride. "There you are. This place is beautiful, isn't it?" "Yeah," she replied. "It is. But, can we talk?" The weight of her words lingered in the air, thick with unasked questions. "Of course. You okay?" He tilted his head, searching her expression with concern. "I'm fine. Just we need to have a real conversation. About everything." The world around them faded, the music and laughter becoming a muffled backdrop. Her heart thudded in her chest, rising to meet the tension she felt building between them. "Now?" he said, almost hesitating. "Yeah. I don't want to put it off anymore. You said there were too many things unresolved." Each word felt like a step deeper into uncharted waters. Her father swallowed hard, his expression shifting from surprise to deep contemplation. "All right. Let us find a quieter spot, then." As they moved toward a quieter area beneath the shade of a large oak tree, Sarah felt the weight of her unspoken truths tugging at her. What if this conversation opened doors she hadn't even considered? And yet, what if it changed everything? As they settled into a bench beneath the rustling leaves, Sarah glanced over her shoulder, heart racing as the world continued its cheerful celebration around them. Her family was laughing and playing, while she braced herself for a collision of truths. Would her courage unravel the past, or would it forge a path toward something beautiful? The moment hung heavy between them, pulsing with unexpressed emotions, waiting for her to leap. "Dad, I need to tell you something," she began, her voice steady but soft. The festival seemed to hold its breath along with her, as the first words of truth slipped out into the air. "And I need you to listen," Sarah continued, her pulse quickening. "There's something I've been holding back for too long. Something that has been weighing on me." Her father shifted slightly, his expression serious. The lightheartedness of the festival felt like a distant memory, overshadowed by the gravity of their conversation. "All right, I'm here. What is on your mind?" Sarah took a deep breath, gathering the bits of courage she had scraped together. "It's about our family, about you and Mom, about how things unfolded after the divorce. I've never really understood what happened." I feel like she hesitated, searching for the right words. "I feel like I've been living in an echo, just trying to piece together bits of the past. And lately, it's really been affecting me." Her father's brow furrowed, and he looked away, as if lost in memories. "I didn't want you to feel that way. I thought time would help." "Time has just made it harder," she replied, her voice sharper than she intended. "I've been wrestling with feelings of anger and confusion. It feels like I've lost so much, but I'm not even sure what I'm still hoping to find." He nodded slowly, absorbing her words with a pained expression. "I understand. I suppose it's too easy to assume you could just carry on with your life, without having to confront hard truths." "It is. And, Dad, it's not just about Mom. It's about us, too." She glanced quickly at the festival, where Josh and Mia were busy choosing prizes from the game booth. Those innocent, carefree moments tugged at her heart. "I want to know why we never really talked about everything. Why you didn't share your hurt or let us in." That's where I failed you," he admitted, his voice trembling just slightly. "I thought keeping you shielded from the pain was the right choice. I didn't want to burden you. But being shut out felt like a burden too," she asserted, her emotions composed at last into a solid statement. "Dad, I don't want to feel like I have to tiptoe around my own family. I want us to be real with each other. To talk about the mess and the love, everything." He looked deeply into her eyes, a well of emotion surfacing. "You're right. I have to own my mistakes. For a long time, I was too afraid of how it might change things. I kept saying things would get better on their own, but what if they don't? What if this is the moment that allows us to truly start over?" A flicker of hope ignited in Sarah's chest. Here was her father, admitting shortcomings, reaching for something better. She felt the shared weight between them start to shift, transforming into something lighter. "So, where do we begin? Maybe." He hesitated, searching for the right words. "Maybe we start with the truth behind your feelings. I can share my side. Let us unpack the past but remember to lift each other up too." Before she could respond, a loud cheer erupted from the festival. Music filled the silence, blending laughter and excitement into a swirling, vibrant hum. Sarah felt the reality of their surroundings colliding with the emotional journey right before her. "Let us do this," she said, her heart steady now. "Let us pull back the layers and see what is underneath. Together." As her words hung in the air, a ripple of anticipation surged through her. They were on the brink of change, standing at the edge of discovery, but a part of her hesitated. Was it truly possible for one conversation to untangle the complexity of hurt from years past? Before she could ask, a frantic wave of kids rushed by, Mia's face shining with excitement and Josh trailing closely behind. Guys! Guys! Come see! Mia screeched, pulling Josh toward the painting booth, unburdened by the weight Sarah carried. Maybe we should join them, her father suggested, momentarily distracted by a burst of laughter. As they rose from the bench, Sarah felt the cusp of new beginnings brush against her skin. The question lingered, drawing her deeper. What if this is just the start of a bigger revelation? The music thrummed, the laughter swelled, but now there was a glimmer of hope in the air, the promise of a bond redefined. As Sarah walked back to the bustling crowd, she couldn't shake the feeling that the real work was just about to begin. The festival was in full swing, a riot of color and sound that vibrated through the air. Sarah stood on the edge of the gathering, heart still swirling with the weight of her revelation. For the first time in a long while, she felt a glimmer of hope lighting her path. "Look, Mom! I got a rainbow painted on my face." Mia beamed as she bounced over, her cheeks flushed with excitement. Josh, wildly shaking a handful of prizes, rushed in behind her, Sarah's heart softened at their joy. They were so carefree, so alive in this moment. Each smile and laugh from her kids felt like a reminder of everything she had fought for: the community, the diner, and now her father. With that thought, she turned to him, who had lingered nearby, taking in the sights of the vibrant festival. "Hey, Dad," she called, the words feeling different on her tongue. "Join us." He approached with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity, but beneath it was a spark of something genuine, a yearning to connect. The laughter swirling around them felt infectious. "I never thought I'd see you again, Dad," she said playfully, nudging him slightly. "What do you think?" "It's incredible," he replied, glancing around. "It's a wonderful testament to what a little love and connection can build." Just then, Marco appeared, radiant and beaming, holding a funnel cake topped with powdered sugar. "Want some?" He grinned, extending the treat towards Sarah. The sweet scent wafted through the air, making her stomach rumble. "Definitely," she replied, taking a bite. The sweetness melted on her tongue, and laughter spilled from her lips. "Why don't we get some for the kids?" her father suggested hesitantly, and Sarah's heart warmed. He was trying, she could see it. As they walked to the food stall, Sarah suddenly understood this festival wasn't just about the colors and music. It was a canvas upon which they could paint their stories anew. Her father's presence felt different. It wasn't just a recollection of the past, it was an opportunity to forge a new relationship. It felt like the flooding joy of reconnecting, surfacing in the laughter around them. Later, as dusk began to fall, the festival transformed into a mesmerizing spectacle of illuminated lanterns. Sarah found herself standing with her father beneath the canopy of soft lights, surrounded by the gentle hum of families coming together, their songs mixing into a beautiful chorus of hope. "Dad," she began, cautiously. "Do you remember the story we talked about? The nightingale?" He nodded, finding its voice despite the chaos surrounding it. "Exactly," she said, gaining momentum. "I think that's what we're doing today. Each lantern tells a story. It represents our struggles, our joys, and what we can share. Maybe we can find our voices too together." A flicker of understanding passed between them. He hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. "I'd like that, Sarah. I really would." At that moment, a burst of applause erupted from nearby as a band struck up a lively tune. People danced and cheered, weaving a tapestry of joy that enveloped them. "Shall we?" he asked with a tentative smile. "Absolutely," she replied, feeling lighter than she had in years. Together, they joined the crowd, laughter echoing, stepping rhythmically amid the warmth of their community. The night grew deeper, the festival's magic wrapping around them. Sarah looked on as Marco playfully spun the kids in circles, their joy weaving into the pulsating heartbeat of the town. For the first time in a long while, she felt the weight of her past lifting, her heart tossing away shadows that had so long clung to her. They danced together, a family now slowly rebuilding. Step by careful step, they traversed the complexities of bonding, the music cradling them amidst the newfound bright light. It was a moment of liberation, where her father's laughter intertwined with hers, a song of healing beginning to emerge. As lanterns floated into the sky, climbing higher and higher, a profound sense of connection anchored them. Sarah felt a shift inside, the weight of doubt ebbing away, a warm glow replacing it. They were here, together, forging something new amidst the remnants of the past. "This is just the beginning," Sarah whispered to herself, a radiant smile lighting up her face, and in that moment of unity voices raised, hands clasped, stories spilling forth like the bright lights around them. Sarah realized this wasn't just a festival. It was a celebration of change, renewal, and the beautiful intricacies of family, woven together like the threads of their shared lanterns. As the night wore on, laughter and stories filled the air, and Sarah knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, like the steady glow of the lanterns above each light, a testament to their resilience and hope. And in the spirit of this transformation, now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you won't miss out on more incredible, heartwarming stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm, and let us keep spreading this joy. Comment your reactions and feelings about this beautiful ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans know the power of connection.